So, our industry is constantly evolving. I hope you guys can hear me well. Yeah.
Yep.
So our industry is constantly evolving. Not only are the attractions changing, so are our customers. Today you have a newborn 1-year-old who's given an iPad or an iPhone at an age of 1 and learns technology, and they grow up loving technology and using technology. So our customers are constantly evolving. Our things are getting different every day, and our customers are getting more and more demanding. More importantly, their attention spans are very, very limited. They want something new each time they come into leisure and entertainment facilities. Now, and it's interesting in terms of, what is the composition of today's family entertainment center? Is it products that are very technologically driven, or do the purest forms of soft play and regular amusement rides and the traditional arcade games, do they still work? I'd like to start this by requesting Mr. Athia to comment. What makes a good family entertainment center today? What type of attractions do we need?
I think this goes, thank you everyone for coming to our panel. I think this goes to multiple layers of attractions. It's very important that we have to capture all technology base included in our portfolio or in our profiles. It's very important that with this cutting edge technology, also to understand their needs, you have to add some of IB-based attractions to capture their expectations, and it's a very not anymore like before. No, they are more boring people. They bored quickly, so you have to capture all their expectations of multi attractions. Immersive attractions, virtual reality attractions, augmented reality attractions. It's all, with branded look and feel, and it's very difficult nowadays to cater the normal FEC, which is normal coaster. Even with the coaster, you have to integrate different look and feel. Maybe you could have guns, sensors, targets. It has to be different attraction for these people in order for them to leave the technology side of them while they are dedicated daily on mobiles, PC games, and all of that. So they need something different in order to get them from homes.
Chris, would you like to add to that? Atia is an operator who's already operated. You've operated many locations in your past, but then you're working on a major adventure with Saudi Entertainment Ventures 7, where you're creating something new and next gen. So what do you think should be the composition?
Thanks Prakash. I think if I was to talk about the kind of guest experience, I think what's going to be really important with technology is to make sure that it's actually better than what we've currently got, right? So what we don't want to do is put people through the registration and the whole kind of, the card system and RFID and the spending and the different packages. And we've got it already out there. And if the technology is going to improve that, then let's go with it. But I think if it's not going to improve that, then we're going to have products that are not being used, right? So I think investing in technology on the guest experience is something that we're doing a lot within 7. And we're really making sure that it's going to add to the overall experience. And it's not something that we're just spending money on that's not really going to bring any results, yeah?
That's a fantastic point, because sometimes being rudimentary is actually better because customers get it quickly, and many times you could have technology that is so confusing and customers find it difficult to use. Maybe it works in certain markets, but then it's so important to understand this market. But Mr. Atia, you specifically highlighted about the need for IPs and brands. I mean, these brands obviously get you instant recognition. People relate to it, and therefore they're drawn to it. But then brands and technology, in a market that requires so much repeat visitations, because end of the day, we are not at Disneyland with catering to so many fresh faces each year, right? So how do these kind of brands and technology cater to repeat visitations?
It's first of all, you have to balance. So we are not only dedicated to immersive or IB, but you have to balance also. So redemption game will be redemption game. So people will come for bumper car will be bumper car. So it's also very important to balance an attraction through technologies. So before we're going to IB, because normally you get bumper car with VR, but it's not working because we created bumper car to bump and to feel the happiness of bumping each other. But if you add leader of technology on it, it's becoming very, very difficult for people to act together. Then they are in a different world, each one of the individuals. So it's sometimes it's not really customer. We tried many times in many attractions. But yes, IB is very important because it caters to the new level of Gen Z and new teenager, new child, new. It's all catchers, you know. They know all the story. I remember I was in London one day discussing some of the IB. Then I came across one brand which is from that company called Miraculous. And that day, just 2 years ago, I didn't know the brand itself, the behavior. Then I have my twins' daughter. I called them from there. I told them, okay, what you know about Miraculous? They give me the full story. Oh, this is in season 5, it's in Netflix. They are doing 1, 2, 3. They are, please bring the car. Ask them to bring the car for Ladybug, you know. The full story of this one. So they are more advanced than us from technology because they are daily on YouTube. They are daily on all this kind of Disney Plus and Shahid and all of this one. So these dedications, they know every details about the brand. They know the story about the brand. So it's very important. They need to cater and see that in live.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, you need to have a different way of organized, but it doesn't need to be like museum. So you don't kill the repeat visit, you know. Sometimes we have an attractions become a museum, then it's only one-time visit. This is very important, how the repeat visit, and this, as Chris said, how you integrate the customer journey, kind of technology that the repeat visit, buoyants, redemptions, whatever you can do to get the customer back.
So upgradability is very, very important. Chris,
Yeah.
would you like to add to that?
No, I was just saying that the IP and the name can only do so much, right? That can bring them, but then when they're there, if the attraction's a flop, it's going to even cause you more problems. So I think doing that due diligence on making sure that the product's going to match the level of the IP and obviously that partnership, and you know, we've obviously working with our own IPs, and we do a lot of work with them in meetings and checking and constantly with samples and where are we exactly with that, just to make sure that we're going to deliver to the expectations that you know, we're signing for, really.
Right. In fact, that's a fantastic point that you raised about Miraculous. And today, the IPs are just not limited to just the movies. It's not just a Transformers or something like that. Now you're looking at, I think your company is already working with the likes of Netflix and all the others and bringing in where there are multiple seasons and multiple episodes, right? So you could still have an IP, and then as long as, because the assets are there, as long as you can have something with a season that's just elapsed, added on to the license, and then you're able to replenish till the next season comes along. You keep the brand alive. So that's something that we were actually discussing with Zach yesterday onto this in terms of how are you going to apply this. Fantastic. So layers of technology such as VR, AR, is that mandatory today? You think that that's really needed? Or like you mentioned, it's so much more nicer to see Chris when I bump into him and his face rather than see an avatar of Chris and bump into that avatar.
I'm sorry to say that, but we have an example, real example already happened in VR Park, which is really cater all to VR from different perspectives. So I think they lost a lot of customer in the beginning, and now they return to authentic. It's very important. I remember I have my kids together. I think we spend only 25 minutes inside the park because they all feel motion sickness. We want to leave the park. It's too much. Everywhere is in VR. So because God created us already with different dimensions. So it's very important that, yes, we have a layers of technology in our parks, but it should cater not all our attractions. Should be really specific. In some area here, we have technology, we have immersive technology, we have some EVR. While till the moment, I did not see really very immersive attractions of VR, augmented reality. With all the respect, the technology is not yet there. The technology, only 3D, yes, But the VR is not yet there because the different quality, the different setup of the Google or the Oculus itself. So it's required, the technology. But I think customer nowadays, what we can see now, the trends on social entertainment cater across all many countries, they need more of personalizations. They need to have, oh, you have your avatar, you register your avatar, you have something different, you know. The personalization is much, much better than technologies. Socializing is, you know, Top Golf in Dubai is a good example. 80% of the people doesn't know anything about golf, but they go there, they play because they socialize to each other. That's very important rather than spend so much on technology and adding many layers of VR, augmented reality. At the end, people won't be free.
Chris? I mean,
obviously I know a lot about the VR
VR
park, right?
parks. So
But I came in after it was built, so that's my get out. But I think that really opened my eyes to VR and AR, right? And what I would say about that is that the rides and redemption are always going to be the key to our business, right? It's going to be the highest percentage of the revenue that we're going to take. And then we've got the other categories around that, you know, your video, whatever. And then, but there is a market for the VR and the AR. But I think you've got to do your research, right? You need to play the games. You need to understand the content. You really need to make sure that you're working with the right partners. Having technical support is absolutely key, because we know with that type of attraction, you're going to have issues, right? It's just how it is, yeah? Understanding the licensing in the future, one of the problems with the VR park was that we had big titles, big licenses, but then when it came to renew them or to add new content, that, you know, you were talking more in paying for the license than we'd actually earned for the whole year for the game, right? Just on license. So I think that's really, really important. And I think also training your staff to understand the game, right? Because I'll give you a quick example. So one of the, obviously a lot of, once they heard I was at the VR park, I had so many people and everyone had the best product in the world, right? Including you, Prakash. And so they would come and say, you know, can you try this? We'll even give it to you for free. Just try it, see what you think. And so one game came, I tested it a few times, and the guy calls me the next day and says, what do you think? I said, look, I was on it for 2 or 3 minutes. I didn't understand the game. He said, oh, did you get to the secret chamber? I was like, what secret chamber? He's like, let me come tomorrow. My guys didn't expect, let me come tomorrow and I'll explain it. So basically the next day he comes and he shows me the game, and it's got secret passageways. It's got different, you know, animations. It's got more points. It's got new levels. I'm like, if you'd have told me that yesterday, I could have sold this game. It would have worked well. All the feedback was, when we tried it as a test, guests would wear the headset, play for a few minutes, feel a bit, I'm not really sure what we're doing, and then just leave. So actually training the staff to understand the attractions is so key, right? And we made a point of actually giving the staff 20 seconds to explain the key elements of that game. And then we really found an increase in actually, you know, the enjoyment of the game. People were spreading the word to come and try this. So I think really, if you're going to buy VR, I think that would be the best way to go.
I mean, it's an interesting discussion, this one, and I'm glad you raised it. As developers of shopping malls and destinations, everyone's trying to bring something cutting edge, something different. So I personally don't think Emaar was wrong when they wanted to really take something to the next level and then bring something that's absolutely astounding. Yeah. But what probably went wrong was 2 things, in my opinion at least. The fact that the technology was evolving at such a rapid pace, but still at a very nascent stage of development, was not considered. Yeah. The fact that the demographic was not ready for virtuality, 100% virtuality, was not considered. So, and the redundancy rates with things like headsets and everything else was probably not considered. So, to probably switch 100% to virtuality was wrong, because it came in at a very big investment and cost. Yeah. And then, if you had kept a balance between a bit of virtuality and, you know, the traditional elements, and slowly, as understanding your demographic goes, that doesn't. The other thing that we also noticed was that onboarding of customers, and it's still a problem with a lot of VR attractions, when it takes 3-4 minutes to onboard a customer, and teach them 7 different controls to press. That's a problem. I've noticed that. Have you felt that too?
Yeah, what I find, and what I would say is that it's very difficult to see exactly what they're experiencing or feel it, right? Because you don't know if the sound's coming. Yes, you can see it on the screen sometimes, but you don't know if the headset's working. Are the earpieces, is it the full package, right? And very quickly a VR game can be brilliant one minute and then the next minute it's not, right?
Right.
And I think that's one thing. So you know, whereas when you're on a ride, for example, in a group, you all experience it together, right? I think sharing the experience is a big challenge.
Correct.
And I think they also, by adding VR on all of the rides, VR works very well on flight, right? You can with a few tweaks, a bit of wind, up and down, you can create a really nice experience. When people are spinning, yeah, and it's exactly what Mohammed was saying there, right?
Right.
That within 2 or 3 rides spinning, people would leave the park, and that's obviously not what you want, right? You know,
Right.
I can't do any more. I can't do it. You don't want people to look at rides and be like, oh, I don't want to do that. And that was the impression that we were getting, right?
And also the authentic of the ride itself. We go to Universal Studio in Orlando to play the Hulk coaster. We want to see ourselves from very different height. That how this is an experience itself. You are playing the biggest tower to feel the tower, how this motion will go out. It's gonna be safe, you know. This is the way with the theme park started, you know. Now we want give me the additional different module of how I'm going to reach. You know, many people started, you know, roller coaster. Okay, let's have roller coaster, you know, different way of VR. Okay, I'm riding roller coaster to enjoy how this roller coaster give me the speed, the motions, and all of that. You know, it's very important to cater it in, as Chris said, you know, to cater it in all games. This is very difficult, you know.
Because we had big rides there, right? The biggest rides in FECs around.
Right.
Millions of investment in those rides. People would literally take the headsets off and just ride the ride as it was. You know, I think, like I said, I think VR is great, but you just got to get it in the right way and really understand what you're going to do with it, right?
Right. And again, that really brings us to this customer engagement in terms of, you know, how are we engaging with our customers? How is technology perceived by these customers, and how do they interact with technology, right? So, like you mentioned about motion sickness, nausea can cause a form of migraine, and that's one of the reasons most people would have walked out of VR park. How has customer engagement evolved in the recent times? What do customers really want, more specifically in Saudi Arabia? What is customer engagement in Saudi Arabia?
I think customer in Saudi Arabia, like any customer in the whole world, but here, since it's the deja vu, what we have earlier from many years, so the speed of development is very fast. So the customer evolving and demanding is also evolving very fast. So I think mobile technology played a big role on that to evolve what the customer demands, to communicate, connecting, and all of that. So it is very important that we cater all of this in order to engage, do the right engagement with the customer. So you have to use the right technology to engage with the customer. Social responsibility is also a big part of engaging the customers. Your local near customer is very important. How you localizations is very important part. Personalizations is very important part for customer engagement. All of that played in the last 2 years a big part of engaging the customer across all. You know, wallet system and engaging the wallet in everywhere. In one portfolio, you have one portfolio, you can play everything, you can have the membership, you can have the loyalty, all together. This is the part of engagement. You are not leaving the customer to leave from other part. And this is what we do across all our profile. We are not only in entertainment, no. Once you enter our malls, you'll find our FEC, our entertainment, social entertainment, our fashion retail, our F&B retail, our sport retail, Our cinema is all integrated in one applications. So customer from one mobile numbers you enter, you will find across all engagement in all of this. Before you go from FVC, okay, you can have cup of coffee 50%. You just go to this area. That okay, Kayabi or Woman's Secret or any other brand. By the way, they have 20% discount. Don't forget to miss Best Buy. This is the kind of technology will help us how we can engage the customer across all malls.
There's another question on this as to how we integrate different facets of the facility using technology. But I know Chris would want to add, but since they're connected, it's so important when we talk customer engagement to actually know your customer, their cognitive needs, emotional needs, behavioral needs, which are kind of similar within a demographic, sometimes different or similar within an age group. So when we talk customer engagement, how do you build emotional, cognitive, behavioral connect with your customers and your brand?
I mean, for me personally, as a dad, with young boys that are like 7 and 9, so it's perfect now because they're over 1.2, so we can just do everything. I think we like to spend time in attractions, right? And we something's new, we open, and so I always say to them, oh, do you want to go, Aquaventure, or we want to go here, and they remember those great memories, right? And that's building that emotional connection by spending time as a family in attractions, and really, so that then you're kind of also fostering that loyalty, right? If I say to them, what do you want to do this weekend? They'll think back to those times and think, I want to go here because we had a great time and Dad was there, and and I think now, especially in Saudi, that whole family visit to the attractions is building, right? We had an older generation of FECs, and now those people that went in their ages have now become fathers and whatever themselves, and they're bringing their children, and it's changing from a kind of place where the nannies would take the kids to families who are really enjoying it together, right? And I think that's a great experience. So I keep that in my mind at all times, especially when we're looking at design and when we're looking at operating, that our job is about creating memories, right? And if you can create great memories, then those things will build everything you talked about, emotional, cognitive, it's all there. It's all there because, we want people to have great experiences.
I think that's fantastic because that's so important to understand your customer and then create those memories. I think about 6 weeks ago, I was at Magic Planet and I found this maybe 27, 30-year-old Emirati father playing with his 4-year-old son on Super Mario. And I saw them really enjoy the game, and I went up to them after the game and said, wow, you guys are having so much fun. And the father turned around and told me, man, I grew up playing these games at Magic Planet. I want my son to do the same. That to me was emotional, cognitive, that connect with that brand in terms of, recognizing that and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So
one thing I did want to say, just to follow on from Mohammed's point, was about one thing that actually surprised me when I came to Saudi 3 years ago is how well traveled the Saudi people are, right? You talk of an attraction in China, they've been there. You talk of something in Japan, they've been there. So their expectation about what we're going to deliver under the banners of PIF or whatever we're going to do in the future, their bar is also increasing, right? So, we've got a challenge coming and we need to make sure that we hit that.
Absolutely. That's going to be a tough one to meet because with all the ambitious projects that are announced in Saudi, you've really set the bar very high. And they're expecting to see the best of Disney, best of Japan, best of everywhere else in Saudi Arabia. So that's going to be a challenge for...
And because ours is mainly location-based, right, we're going to have repeat visitors on a weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, right. So we need to make sure that we have, the right workshops, activities, engagement, everything that we were talking about, really using technology to let people know about what we've got coming and make it fresh, right, each time.
So, and would you like to add anything more on this, Mohammed?
I think is what Chris culture I think is more enough. I think is emotional or behaviors or cognitive is all storytelling. The experience itself, the purpose of the brand is many. The customer will need to see many engagement.
Right. So there again, that brings us to that building a positive customer experience at every touch point is important for any business, right? So from the time they look at the entrance of your facility to the way they come into your counter and interact with your staff and everything, how are you working towards delivering this kind of a positive customer experience from entry to exit within your brands?
I think we work in 5 milestone here. So the first milestone is the entrance experience. So entrance experience is very important, how you welcome your customer, the guest experience. This tells the customer how they will futurely look inside, what is the expectation inside. So first of all, the entrance experience is very important. The attraction experience is very important. So each attraction, we have to dedicate a real experience in each attractions. This is very important. Customer service experience, this is another milestone we are working on it. How the customer experience, they can see really every dedications. I remember normally when you go to Rexos Hotel in Sharm el-Sheikh, that's really astonishing experience. Even you think about anything, you just think about it, you found it yourself, people are coming to you, they are really engaged, they are very connected to the customer. That's very important. F&B experience is very important part now in your family entertainment center or theme park or whatever. So this is closing experience, the goodbye experience, return back, the recognitions, how the customer loyalty program, come back please, you have something to remember for next time, don't leave him just pass, no, he have to see something different that he can come back.
Right. Would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I was just a small thing was, obviously we need to make sure that our staff are really trained to deliver this, right? And we can buy the best products, we can have the best IP, we can have the best parks in the best locations, but if we don't train our staff through really detailed programs, using the best training out there, then we're going to fall flat, right? So it's one of our biggest things that we're thinking about, obviously in terms of staffing and also keeping our staff, right? We don't want to be training staff to such a level that they're moving on and joining the next big project, right? So how we do that and maintain our own staff loyalty is going to be key, because even last year when I was in Disney, right, the difference between a Disney person that's been there years and knows everything about the park versus a new Disney person is just huge. And so we want to make sure that we keep we're retaining our best staff in order to deliver what we need to deliver.
Right. I mean, that is such an important point, right? It is, end of the day, your staff are going to deliver that positive customer engagement at every touch point, get them excited before they go into any attraction, and then make them feel good about when they exit an attraction. How difficult is that going to be in Saudi Arabia? It's okay for the Gen Zs that you're probably going to employ and everything else, because you need that age group to engage with your Gen Z customers who are going to make the bulk of, given Saudi Arabia's young population, so who are going to make the bulk of your customers. So how easy is it going to be to elevate these people to deliver that experience, to deliver that engagement, and also retain them?
I mean, for sure it's going to take time, right? We need the right infrastructure. We're basically, the level that we want to get to, we need to cover all the bases, and we're doing a lot of work in the background now. And for me, it's all about all about the staff, and it's all about making them feel part of something, and they're not necessarily wanting to look around and feel, oh, okay, maybe I can do this here and do that there. And we've already seen, people that go and maybe then regret and then come back, and probably we've all done it personally, right? So I think, just having a best-in-class company to work for. I mean, on LinkedIn already, and in 7, we're already rated one of the best companies to work for in the kingdom, and I think that's going to continue to grow. And I think Damien mentioned the other day, our chief attractions officer was all about creating this career, right? Taking students, taking young people, and making them feel like they can make a career in our industry, and that would be amazing, right? To create a new legacy and a new kind of industry, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see how rapidly Saudi Arabia is evolving, and I'm a kind of a mean person sometimes, but I do this just to enhance my own knowledge. So every time I check in and I see some trainees and everything, I try to push the buttons and I ask them things which, to see if they are able to answer. And this time when I was checking into my hotel, it was refreshing to see that the staff was so proactive and they were so trained to answer those questions, which was fantastic, which I did not see the last year when I came in here, right? So, Atiya, how are you dealing with your staff in delivering this positive engagement?
See, our intermediate staff, I think we all have challenges. So we have to admit that before doing anything. So I think the government played a big role now in order to enhance the entertainment positioning across the board. And also we are working with the Saudi entertainment company for defining different college, because we want our people to have career paths. Okay, we want our colleague in 7 is still in startup, so but we are in operation almost 20 years in Saudi. I think now we want to build something for the people. So once he's engaged as a ride operator, from day one they know that they will be one day the managers, they will be a CEO. So there is a position, career path, all of that for them. This is very important now because the turnover is horrible, especially from our industry level, from operator point of view, store, because in 200 riyal, in some amount, they can leave you easily. So it's very important that they know this is their responsibility, this is their career path, this is their futures. So we are now building that. This is my country. It's my first country. I'm 20 years here. So we are building that across the board with Jaya, with everyone, how we create the career path in hospitality and entertainment. This is very important. Then to keep them and to deliver the customer experience, now we have to deliver a different program. First of all, the training is very important. The recognition, the rewards is very important. The responsibility role. Everyone's specification role, they have roles very defined correctly. That's very important. I think to engage the customer experience, the incentive scheme work very good hard that differentiate people from each other. How could this lead to different experience for the customers?
I really like what you said, when we were having a conversation 2 days ago, when you wanted to give bonuses to your staff, and your staff asked you, how can I get bonus? And you just told them, deliver the company vision and you get your bonus. So that was a nice one.
It's really, it was one word I never expected. My colleague Karim is here. I never expected from our group CEO. So before Eid, we have really worked very hard to have a very big incentive, different scheme, different salary scale for all our team in Saudi in different countries. So the only word that we've been asked, okay, that's one signature, no issues, but what is the deliver message to our team? So the deliver message is to achieve company goals. That is very, very important. We are here to achieve company goals. We are here to achieve the target customer experience. Even to achieve. See, as Chris said, the people here traveled everywhere in the world. They have been treated in everywhere of the world. So they have to see something here different.
Yeah, well said. Chris, would you like to add to that?
It's lost my mind, Prakash, what I was thinking.
No, I mean, you have to incentivize them for sure to deliver the goals.
I know what I was going to say. I know what it was. I got it now.
Yeah.
I was thinking not only are we enhancing the entertainment sector, right, but also the customer service industry. It's an industry that traditionally the Saudis have not really been delivering, but they've been receiving, right? So we're also got to work on that, and I think that's going to be also part of our mandate, right? To start this in parallel with our entertainment industry. It's key, absolutely key.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I have this reputation that I ask too many questions, and every session that I moderate, I end up running out of time. But we've got 2 minutes. Important question. Data analytics are super important today to know your customer. You've also got artificial intelligence churning out these things to better understand your customer. You touched upon that in terms of how are you creating and integrating a package or a technology that helps you to understand customer habits. Now, how are you employing this really to know your customer in your present operation? So I want two opinions here. You, how you're using this information, your existing operations from you, Mr. Atia, and how are you planning to do this, Chris, when it's passed on to you within your new operations?
So I think we are building now the biggest data center ever in one of our projects. So Al Atheem is investing 17 billion Saudi riyal on the next generation shopping malls across Saudi. So one of the mandate, we have already a CEO, a doctor, Saudi lady, doctor for artificial intelligence. So how we can use this data of all across all our sectors to understand the customer experience. So we are integrating the face recognition, even we are taking face experience. So we will know from this technology that if even you went to our shoes fashion store, you will find us, okay, how we measure these sizes, how many they tried, how many they didn't try. We are capturing all data, what the people like from the ride, because it's all monitored by technologies. So this is very important now. You have all these assets and you are not using technology for data. Data is the assets now across all. You are building millions or billions of assets. Okay, that's great to see. But if you are not using the same data, which is the real asset, to bring your customer back, to understand your customer need, to understand your customer behaviors, what is they like, what they don't like, this is very important. That is the asset itself when they make revenue for you at the end, you know.
At this point in time, are you, I don't know how the Saudi government reacts to that in terms of invasion of privacy, knowing all their habits. So I don't know if there's a policy here. I'm sure there is.
No, the policy is there, and there is already a law coming very soon, and it's already a capture from all this one, because it's not really very private. We are not cutting the privacy. No, it's in public. First of all, you will find the camera, you will find it, but we are capturing what customer need, what the real footfall, the real engine in every aspect, you know, what customer need from the point of sales, what they like, what they don't like. This personalization is very important, you know, in order to understand what you need to bring to your customer later on.
So in your present operations, do you look at potentially heat maps on which areas of your store are more crowded, which areas of your store are less? How many times customers come back?
The heat maps, the back return customer, all of that goes to the camera. So we in order not to use multiple systems, so we are having new technology now using by camera, face recognition, the heating, everything is all by camera. Data analysis by camera, everything is by camera, through all softwares, gathering all data. You know, even camera connect to public address, connect to the sound system, connect to the light, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Just to go on to that, I mean, we're looking at dashboard software, you know, to create in a BI tool, whatever, the heat map. So at any point in time, in real time, we can see the performance of anything, right? And that's going to tell us, okay, maybe for instance, a game is always traditionally doing well, and then all of a sudden, you know, at 3 o'clock, it's got no revenue. There's obviously a problem, right? And so it's using that technology as well as an operator to help us, not only just from the guest side, right? That's what I would say.
And in terms of Seven investing, are you investing in any kind of data analytics to really enhance, nothing proprietary to yourselves, but generally for the benefit of our audience, to know how can you use technology to deliver better engagement?
Yeah, we are. It's still in early stages, and we've got different experts on different, and we're working with different consultants on that. We're really looking at the journey right from even thinking about going to the attraction until you get home, and then almost sending then a reminder about, you know, these are the memories that you made, please come back soon, right? So it's really the whole journey from start to finish.
Okay, all right. I mean, we've tried doing this in a very nascent way. We always position games. We know these kind of games make more money in those locations, and we try to move them to another location, which is just looking at your existing data to see if your customers follow. And if it still makes money in another location, it's the game. But if it doesn't make money in the new location, it was the location. So that's just a simple use of data and moving things around. Exactly. So I know that we've completely run out of time. So, and there is Yael looking at me. So how can we deliver better customer engagement in Saudi Arabia in one sentence?
Seeing is believing.
Okay. Seeing is believing.
I wrote something. I said, listening to our guests and then act on feedback through our teams.
Thank you. questions for our fantastic panelists who shared a lot of knowledge with us.
You are already late, Prakash.
Thanks, Prakash.
Thank you all. That was a fantastic session. I'm sure if you have questions for any of them, they'd be happy to answer them after they're off the stage. But thank you all very much.